Scott Narver, we're back from the dead.
Jake Lloyd Bacon, it feels good to be undead.
Okay, so in honor of us returning from the dead, who is your favorite wrestler who was like undead? Who's your favorite wrestler who like represented like a dead man or like someone who was like a zombie?
Come on, are you serious?
Yeah, it's a pertinent question.
It's easy.
I mean, I would think so, yeah.
ECW's Zombie.
Now, does wrestling hurt?
We're back in the Dragon's Den today on Pro Wrestling Palskis.
Hey, Scott Narver.
Hey, Jake Lloyd Bacon.
I can see you in person. I can touch you.
I can see you too, but I don't want to.
Oh,
I don't
just
wanna.
gonna phase around a little bit, just floating in the air. Hi everybody out there, joining us, in the Palski Nation. I forgot how to do this. It's been so long.
Palski Nation.
I don't know how to start
Is that
a
nation
podcast.
of domination?
No, it's a nation of like passive aggressive, like
Is it?
apathy but disdain. There's not a lot of dominating happening.
Oh.
It's a bunch of subs is what I'm trying to get at. We're here.
People love substitutes.
We're back.
They get to fool around more.
We are live in person together
In the new
in
Dragon's Den.
in the same space in the brand new Dragon's Den in Los Angeles, California. And we are live once more for the patrons. Thanks to everybody joining us on the super exclusive patron-only live stream. If you're listening to this in the main pod feed and you're thinking to yourself, I want to tune in and watch live and chat in the window and do all the stuff that they do, well, you got to become a patron over at patreon.com/PWPalskis. Mike Lucas in the chat, the current PWP champ. We must acknowledge him. Mike Lucas, aka Hackensack, will defend that title today after a very extended run as the September's champ. We will be crowning October champ last minute. We got in there right under the wire. It's still October.
So injured reserve list.
Listen, this card subject to change.
Mm-hmm.
There was an issue with the venue. They had we had to postpone the PLEs.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are, we're going to go ahead and have our championship.
The catering truck didn't make it.
Nope. And that's the most important stuff.
It is.
Especially considering they have that Dorito that we like on there.
You mean this one?
I mean that one. Doritos late night. Scott Narver, listen, if you've been following
Late night sizzling cheeseburger.
If you've been following the ordeal, I have been trying to find these, could not find them anywhere. Scott hung on to one of the 17 bags he bought, ate the other 16.
I've also eaten like every Dots thing that there is now to try them. I didn't even post the latest one because I got it and it was not good.
Oh, really? Which is the one that wasn't
big
good?
cheese curdle.
I saw those, but I'm not a big like cheese curdle guy to begin with.
Like a Cheeto.
Yeah. Well, sure.
That's what
what it is. Yeah.
Everyone tries to call it something else and you go, that sounds a little gross.
Sounds like a Cheeto.
They put their, like, I guess the Dots signature spice in it.
Okay.
Which looks like they've all been on the floor for more than 5 seconds.
They just covered in dirt.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh, that's not good.
And they're odd, and you eat enough after a while and you go like, I guess it's tolerable, but I've been eating it for so long now.
Right.
It's not a Cheeto. It's not particularly good.
Well, sorry to hear, Dots. In fairness, I wasn't really on board with the garlic parmesan. So listen.
Really?
Yeah, it's not bad. Maybe it's just,
it's not what you want on a pretzel, but it's certainly as advertised.
Sure. That is fair. That is a true statement.
If you want a garlic parmesan pretzel,
right.
That's it.
Right. Well, once again, welcome to Snack Attack with Scott Narver and Jake Lloyd Bacon. We're going to attack all the snacks.
Yeah.
We haven't done this in a month and a half. I don't remember when our last episode was. I think our last episode might have been
probably August. We recorded would be my guess.
We do have at least I want to speak. I don't want to speak for both of us, but an apology to make.
That's mostly because I constantly say, "Don't speak for me."
That is true.
And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. That's fine."
Mike Lucas in the chat. I was champ for a promotion that went on hiatus. Yeah, I don't remember what last time was, but we did. I think maybe the last episode
back,
was Beetlejuice, where we did a fan casting of Beetlejuice. And after the recording, almost like minutes after, I texted Scott and I said, "God damn it, Lydia should have been Darby Allin."
Yeah.
And I think we missed that. We gave it to what's her face, Tony Storm. And while I feel like that's still good, Darby Allin was right there. That was the obvious answer. Yeah. So I do want to apologize to everybody who we offended. I want to apologize to all the Beetlejuice fans. Yeah. It's clearly Darby Allin. Yeah. Obviously, Lydia is Darby Allin.
Yeah.
But since then, we have not potted. I don't know. They lost the Hulu deal and ended. I can't watch Raw or SmackDown. I've not watched any wrestling in like.
What do you mean you can't watch it? It's everywhere.
I could watch it. I watched clips of it when they get posted on the social medias.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah, if only there were 19 other outlets to watch these shows.
I look. None of them are things
been
I
a
have.
month. Then it's on Peacock.
Oh right. So I guess I could catch up from last month.
Catching up right now.
Yeah, but I'll still be. You'll never be able to catch up. They're not unedited on YouTube. That's what I'm saying. I'm watching like clips of shit on social media. That's YouTube is part of that.
Yeah, but there's all kinds of ways.
Right. Well, I don't have any currently, so I do not. I have no day after Raw SmackDown. So my ritual of
somebody give them a login.
No,
please.
Fucking, I hate it. People send me logins. I'm not using your fucking logins.
Why? I
am not going to add another profile to something. Can I watch it on your YouTube?
You're going to add a profile to mine?
Can I just? Is it on YouTube TV?
You're going to add a profile to mine. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out your.
I'm just asking if it's available on there. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm saying, is it available on YouTube TV?
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Okay.
So you can watch TV.
Can I watch it on your YouTube TV, Raw and SmackDown?
Hold on. I've asked you to explain your thing. That you won't add a profile onto someone else's account because why?
I didn't say I wouldn't do that.
You just did.
I said I don't want to add. I'm not going to add another person's logins on my shit for stuff I already have.
But if you don't have it though, because you say you can't watch it.
There's nothing that exists that I don't have.
What about a sling? Maybe someone's got a sling, and you could be slinging it up. Do you have a sling?
I don't like for my when I fractured my collarbone.
No, you didn't
separated my shoulder. I had a sling.
You're an Adonis. You couldn't break yourself.
Gilbert Short NXT shows up on Peacock next day. IIRC.
That's your favorite.
What does IIRC mean again?
In real cases of closure.
That's not the same letters.
In real cases of closure?
It's IIRC.
Yeah.
You have two C's in cases.
Yeah,
of
but
closure.
It's like cool.
Is it a silent C?
Yeah.
It's a hidden
slick.
C.
It's hidden C. Yeah, that's one of the new Wyatt Six, the hidden C.
Mickey Bell in the chat.
And it's hepatitis, by the way.
No,
they're trying to get Nigel back.
Mickey Bell in chat says WWE has done some really good stuff recently. Raw and SmackDown have been solid.
I tend to only watch Raw.
Okay, so you don't like? Isn't Cody in the Bloodline on SmackDown?
I totally forget.
Because you love Seth Rollins, that's why, and he's on Raw.
No, he fucking finally showed back up, and I was like, oh, he used to be so good. It was so good when he was gone. It was so good.
Mike Lucas says it's on the CW app.
Yeah, you don't have that. Everybody share your CW app logins with Jake.
Fucking Christ.
And then make sure Jake.
How long until it's
gets
on Netflix?
the dancing frog WB emoji, please.
Okay, I have a question though. Raw's going to Netflix, right? But SmackDown's moving to USA?
Yes, there. Hold on. Yeah, I answered your one question. Raw is going to Netflix. Correct.
It was a comma. There was no question mark yet. So therefore my question's not over.
Right? Is it right?
Okay, if I said right, then I did actually end the sentence, but it was an unintentional sentence end.
Okay.
It was like a nervous energy in New York.
Raw is going to Netflix in January. I believe the first episode of that is going to be around this area somewhere. Okay. It's in Los Angeles.
And SmackDown is going to USA?
I don't know.
All right. Listen, we run a very professional wrestling podcast here.
Well, we'll get to why I don't know any of this shit.
Can't you just look it up?
You have the thing.
I'm joking about looking.
You have a thing.
It's a look joke.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been difficult.
WWE.
We should let it be known. We'll get into all that stuff. Like we'll get into you moving back.
Oh yeah, we're gonna catch up. We don't really have anything planned for this other than catch up. Schedule for
we'll get into Jake moving back. My current conditions of things, why we've been off the air. If you're just now listening and going, maybe you didn't want to listen to the Beetlejuice episode, and now this popped up in your feed and go, hey, what's going on? Why aren't they talking about the news?
Right. So it's on SmackDown's on USA Network currently, I suppose.
So yeah, then it's probably already in place.
Gotcha.
But Raw is still currently on USA because I guess they didn't really figure out how that was going to work. So Raws are now currently 2 hours long.
Right.
And it's amazing. It's another reason why I also like it.
But both services, actually like shows though, no longer have the next day Hulu. Everything is all premium subscriptions. So you can watch on Hulu with the premium subscription, which just means you have live TV and other like all same thing with YouTube TV, Sling TV, all that stuff like you were mentioning. But anyways, yeah, I'm not uninterested in the product. It seemed to be pretty good. I was enjoying it when I was watching it. But now I'm just sort of like, what happens is I see somebody post something either in our Discord, which by the way, if you're not in the Discord, please join the Discord. You can find the link at pwpalskis.com or on social media somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see the clip. And what I used to do was I used to go, oh, fuck, that reminds me. I got to watch SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to watch the clip because I'd rather see it unedited in its, quote, unedited, right. as unedited as WWE offers, and in its entirety. And so that makes me, remember to go watch it. Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing that where I'll see the clip and I'll go, oh, I got to watch. And then I'll realize it's not there. And then I'll go, oh, shit. So then I just watch the clip.
I see.
But I want to. But I really don't know what's going on.
Sometimes the clip might just be better because then you don't have to deal with a bunch of the nonsense. The ratio of what I fast forward now is less.
Sometimes they do edit the timing out of everything though on those social media clips.
Well, if Roman Reigns is involved, they're doing you a favor.
They should have to cut his entrance out.
Or just the 3 minutes of talking with no mic.
Right.
That he's doing I was the one. I was the guy. It's cause of me. All right. Then they cut all that shit out and then he punches somebody and you go, yay! He's trying to get his Ula Pfeffers back.
His what?
Those things the
vuvuzelas?
Yeah, the bourgeois.
Okay, a couple things from the chat.
Okay.
Gilbert Short, isn't it ironic that in 2025 you won't need cable to watch Raw, but you will need cable to watch SmackDown? That's a good point. That's inverse from many years ago. And then Raw is now 2 hours, but SmackDown is going to be 3 hours from Mickey Bell with an upside down smiley face.
Well, and Raw might be 3 hours again. Or actually, Raw's going to, from what's been reported, this I know, is Raw will just be whatever it's going to be.
Right. There is not going to be a time limit.
Which sounds fucking nuts for everyone who's having to format the show.
Especially people who are buying tickets to go to an arena and have no idea when they're going to be able to leave.
Well, it's WWE. You're never going to be able to leave. They're just going to run commercials for a long time afterwards anyway.
Lock the doors, seal everybody in.
Do you think when you go to a live Raw, before it starts, they're going to play that Netflix sound?
Dun dun.
Yeah. Is that going to happen? Are people going to start cheering for that in attendance? There's no way Netflix doesn't want
an
acknowledgement while you're there.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, you're probably right. They're gonna just have the little N in the bottom right corner of the Titantron, or whatever the fuck it's called nowadays.
There's no more Titantron.
No more Titantron. It's just the Netflixtron.
Yeah,
the flick screen. Netron. Ooh, Netron's good.
Mm-hmm.
Netron. That sounds like an NXT guy from 12 years ago.
Yeah, or Tony Khan's tag team partner of Hologram.
Also, the current champ, Mike Lucas. Shout out to Scott's shirt. He just wants to give a shout out to your shirt.
Sure.
Which we're not even going to tell people what it is because if you're not watching the live stream, then you don't get the goods. It's a pretty good shirt.
It's a little spooky.
It's a little spooky
for the spooky season.
A little spooky. LIL apostrophe spooky.
Yours though, very spooky.
Mine is
Jimmy John. It's a Jimmy John shirt.
No, it's not a Jimmy John shirt.
It is a Jimmy John shirt. It's sporting sandwiches of a man who hunts the endangered species, Jimmy John's, and then I don't understand the rest.
Those are names. They're people's names.
Of what though?
The Tudumtron. Gilbert. By the way, I wasn't just having an aneurysm there.
I don't know.
I was trying to read
before we started recording.
Trying to read Gilbert's. But it's because remember they were trying to start
Ta-dum.
They were trying to start like another service called Tadum.
Really?
Yeah, Netflix was like there was another streaming service that was maybe free. They were trying to do like what Amazon did with Freevee or something like that, and they called it Tadum, and I didn't understand it until then everybody was like, "Oh, it's the sound that the Netflix makes when you turn it on."
That's who's in charge.
That's who's in charge. The Tadum, yeah, the Tadum.
What do we call it? I don't know.
What's the sound it makes?
Bagum. No, you're fired.
Bagum.
Idiot.
Is that bagum? Bagum. Gagong.
Yeah, it's all interpretation, and then whoever's signing the checks goes, no. Ta-dum.
Oh, that was I don't know why this is even remotely relevant, but in Portuguese, dogs don't bark or arf. They say like a different word, like like the onomatopoeias for animal sounds.
Yeah.
And I remember my buddy Felipe saying what it was. I wish I could remember what it was, but it doesn't sound anything like a dog bark, and I was
Meow.
very upset. Yes, they meow. And in Portuguese, dogs meow.
Well, I've also noticed I will just blanket this in ignorance and say people in South America
Yes.
they don't say haha.
Oh, the
Like
KKKKKKK.
That's too. I don't know. There's too many Ks.
That's what they did, but Felipe would text me every now and then, just like KKK, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you saying, bro?"
Instead of ha-has, I got jajas.
Oh yeah, there's Jaja. Yeah, it is haha still.
But it's
Yeah.
when you read it, you go,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Jaja.
Well, it's not that is at least more acceptable than the KKK that Portuguese people do.
So what is that?
I have
In
no
reference
idea.
to?
I do not know what, but it's the equivalent of ha 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 or laughing a lot. KKK.
Oh, really?
Yep. And it's very, very. It'll throw you for a loop.
Like a dog's belly being tickled and it just kicks. Just
I don't know, maybe. Mickey Bell says padam.
See, that's what he hears over on the other side.
Padam on the other side.
Yeah, the water, the Atlantic.
He's in Spain.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't know. I haven't been kind of plugged into the wrestling as much as I had been previously. Also,
I'm a fair amount.
Yeah,
fair amount.
I was gonna say though, also like what fucking moving is like moving in a new place. I'm working this job that I took in post production that is taking up quite a lot of time and trying to settle in. It was a job I was doing long distance while we were in New York, but now
things are a little steadier now.
But it also means that like I got to half-ass do the job because I wasn't actually in town, so I was able to. It was almost a little,
right.
And it was like, eventually you're going to be here for all this and doing all this work instead of us outsourcing it. And I was like, yes. And now I'm here and I have to do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have also just kind of been busy on top of all the other stuff of, like you said, painting the Dragon's Den and
Sure. There's a curtain or two up.
We're still missing quite a lot of things.
All those Trump signs out front that you put up.
Listen,
JD Vance
I just want to have a beer with JD Vance. What can I say? Listen, anybody cool enough to hang out with Taker? Should we talk about that? Although there has been some wrestling stuff that we didn't talk about that occurred while we were on the show. And maybe this is I don't know if you had some place you wanted to go, but I was just going to
home
try. Wow, already? I was just going to try to keep pulling the thread of Netflix since we've been talking about it.
Okay.
Did you watch the McMahon documentary? Because that came out while we were on hiatus.
No.
You haven't watched it? Okay.
No, because I can't remember if we had talked about it on the show or not, because I know I've chatted about it with friends and stuff.
Sure. I don't think we did.
Yeah, because I said we chatted about it with friends. So why would we talk about it off air, for God's sakes? If we can't profit off it, who gives a shit what we got to say? It was everything from what I've heard, sight unseen. It was everything that I thought it was going to be, expectation wise. It was going to be, because this was, I think this we talked about on the show, like it had been shot. It was done.
Right.
It was in the can.
Right.
And
except for like one interview, which is what they said in the documentary. They're like Vince had one more day scheduled to come and sit.
And that's when it was announced of what they're going to do. But they already had a story in place. They're already going to do what they're going to do. And all of the special guests that they had that were from or affiliated with WWE are then not going to talk about what the allegations are or anything beyond that.
Well, they did bring people back to do like pickup interviews.
Yeah.
But,
Meltzer?
I don't remember specifically who, but I think Meltzer, I think Pritchard, like there were other people who they brought back after they had finished everything and they'd even sent them like those people, like, here's the story so far.
Okay.
And here's what we've done. And they had those people comment in the last episode. and they all had different opinions on like the documentary on the stuff that had come out. So there was a little, don't get me wrong, I totally get what you're saying, and that's my big problem with it. Was that it was sort of doomed because it was just going to be a documentary about Vince, not a documentary about Vince's allegation.
And it's also not a documentary about Vince.
No,
it's
not.
a documentary
it's a
about it's the character of Vince that cuts out all of the things.
I don't know entirely about that. And since you haven't seen it, I think that's the one thing I was going to say that does really well. Is what? I think the and this is the difference. I think like Alexandra really liked it, and I think it's because she hasn't seen all of this footage and all these stories 100 times already, right? Like I think this isn't for wrestling fans. I think that's what's interesting about it is that
who's it? I don't know who
they did a really good job, like of making the MO. I don't know what do you call it? Like when you have a business and you're like, oh, this is our target. This is the thing that we're trying to hit.
Demographic?
No. This is like our goal, our mission statement. There we go. That's what I was trying to come up with. The mission statement for the documentary was, what's the difference between Vincent K. McMahon and Mr. McMahon? And that is, I think, what it does really, really well. And it sets that up in the first episode really well by simply asking people, is there a difference? And then you have 4 different people. It's like Vince, Hunter, Sean, or maybe 5 different people, Hogan, and then Tony Atlas all give 5 completely different answers to the question. And then I think what it does is it from there explores over the course of the 4 or 5 episodes, whatever it is there a difference between the 2 people? The problem is
they don't talk to anyone else who doesn't get paid by him. They don't talk to his family.
Well,
right.
I mean, they talk to Shane.
There's no
Shane. I know what you mean though. Like he gets paid by.
But also they don't cover Vince. They don't cover Vincent Kennedy McMahon. They gloss over major things. They don't talk about his childhood.
No,
they don't talk about
Vincent Kennedy. Oh no, they do quite a bit. And I think that was the stuff that I thought they did really well.
The abuse.
They
uncle,
they touch upon that.
Shit?
Yeah, they touch
upon it, or they go into it.
Well, I mean, they're never going to go into it because no one's going to share those stories. But it's present and it's obvious. It's like we don't need to go in graphic detail. It's touched upon. This is a thing that occurred.
That's what I think is dumb about it. That a 6-hour documentary series, it's like, yeah, we're going to talk about the Monday Night Wars. Like, no.
And again, I do think there were 2
Where's
big
the
things.
home videos?
There were 2 big things that I don't.
Where's Linda talking about fucking anything?
Yeah, there were 2 things that I definitely felt like I didn't need a retread of. Didn't need a retread of the Montreal Screwjob. Didn't need a retread of Owen Hart's death. I don't know how those 2, maybe more so with the Montreal Screwjob, as far as like this is the blending of the character, the pulling back of the curtain for a lot of young viewers. Like I can understand why that might be part of the story of, is there a difference between Vince and Mr. McMahon? But it didn't need a whole fucking episode. And then the Owen's death thing did nothing. It did nothing to explore the mission statement of, is there a difference between these 2 people? Right. All it did was it felt to me like it was almost more of a history of WWE and here's all the stuff that you probably didn't know about WWE than it was about like, here's the story of Vince McMahon. But there was no stories still a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this dude wrote a movie in a hotel room with a guy.
They did talk
He's also
about
a wrestler.
That. They talked about it, but it was, and they all shat on it, the people present, the people who participated.
But it feels like they don't tell the stories that have already been told and covered by WWE and everybody else. Bill Simmons has somebody on his team who does these interviews who's full of shit. He was like, he lied during the Andre one and nobody fact checked him. And then apparently lies during this one too. And nobody fact checks him. And the guy gets a voice on there. Talking to Pritchard's just immediately like, you're not getting,
but I
they don't talk to anybody.
But this is the problem though. Maybe if you didn't see
it,
I think maybe if you didn't see it, I think that I'm arguing for it maybe more than I would, because they do a very clear and obvious job of telling us, the viewers, pretty much, you're not going to get the truth out of this person. This person's going to be in this. Like, they do a really good job of setting the stage of the characters. So yeah, you're not going to get stuff out of Pritchard, but that's what it's presenting to you. It's presenting to you, here's a person who's been his right-hand man, and they will have somebody say something, and then they will show the juxtaposition of whatever that statement is by somebody who will say that person's fucking out of their mind, or this is why. And
he's already done that show with Conrad. Really, like that has already existed. This like, oh well, Vince is great. Like, No, he's not. He did this fucking thing. Why don't you tell me about this?
Sure, but I guess that's the point I'm trying to make is like this. I think it does a really good job of like showing you the characters at play here.
Yeah, but it's all the people in house. They don't talk to Demolition. They don't talk to anybody in the lawsuits they don't talk to anybody who doesn't like him.
They talk to Ventura. They talk to Brett, who's very honest about him, even though he says he loves him.
And he takes money from him.
But they talk to him after the allegations, and he speaks out on all of that. Like there's like a lot. There's a lot there.
So many.
I think you're discounting it too much.
No, I am because it's horseshit.
I don't think it's
6 hours of horseshit. Like telling you WWE stories rather than talking about Vince McMahon, his life, any other footage. They don't follow him fucking anywhere. They don't do anything. They have this massive budget to do all this stuff, and they don't do it. It's 6 hours of probably 4.5 hours of I know. That's not true. I know. That's not true.
Sure. Well, that's not true though is never presented as the documentary's point of view. It's presented as
I've heard otherwise.
It's presented as the people who are the interviewing point of view because again, they do a pretty good job of presenting everybody at face value.
Not the Simmons guy who just says shit that's not real.
The Simmons guy. Who's the Simmons guy?
I don't know. I'm sure I'd see him because they go like, who's that guy? Oh, that's his guy. That's his guy on his team who's like his wrestler insider guy.
I don't know who you're talking about. I can't
he's
place it,
he's probably the one guy that you go, who's that guy? Again, he was in the Andre the Giant documentary and said shit like, God, what was the stuff that he made up? Like Andre was a heel everywhere he went. And it's like, no, he wasn't. He wasn't booked as a heel.
Oh, right. Sure.
Like he just says things that are just wrong and that they put in there and you go, that's not
sure.
Nope.
Well, again, like anything, I'm sure it can be fact checked, quite a bit. But they said said we weren't fact checking.
But when they sat on it and decided to hold it and put it out, and then also it's like it's not going to deal overall with the allegations or anything else.
Yeah,
like it sounded like 6 wasted fucking hours when there's probably 45 minutes there. I go, okay,
right,
I'd watch that.
I will say and I think that's why I started by saying like I don't think this was for wrestling fans who know most of this stuff because Alexandra
know who it's for at all. Like
Alexandra fucking loved it. She absolutely fucking loved it. She thought it was gorgeous. She thought it was fascinating. She absolutely didn't know anything about Vince's childhood. And also they did a really good job of weaving the story about Vince's desperation for his father's love. And then how Shane and Vince have this fucking strange relationship where it's clearly exactly the same, where Shane is so desperate for his father to love him. And they draw some really interesting parallels. And there's definitely some things in there from Vince where they will literally have something in an episode, and then the next episode, Vince will say the exact opposite, and it's by design. It's not like this documentary is dumb. He says the wrong thing. Like they're drawing a circle on the fact that it's different. But there are some things that he says that he lets slip, I feel, where he spoke enough.
Mm-hmm.
Quick sidebar here. Like in the first episode, Triple H kind of laughs at the documentary crew and says like, you're not going to get anything he doesn't want you to get. Like this is a waste of time. He's only ever going to tell you what he wants to tell you, what he wants you to know.
Mm.
And I think that's true. But I think in his old age, in his ego, sitting in front of a camera for an extended period of time, there were some things I think he kind of slipped. And they're not like big things like I murdered somebody, but I mean like little things that he probably wouldn't have said or that he would have had more like of that machismo control over. And a lot of that was stuff about his dad and a lot of stuff about, like family. And it was stuff where he was kind of like saying something by not saying something, where he was dancing around something and that made it obvious. And also it's definitely interesting watching this in a Trump election cycle too. Because there was a lot of this that we were watching where we would pause it and we would be like, holy shit. Like Trump clearly loves Vince and is desperate to be like him. And you see how good Vince is at doing what Trump tries to do, but fails. And the entire time we was thinking, oh my God, thank God Vince is fucking run for president because he would be so much better at doing Trump than he is. I digress. But I don't know. I don't think it was a trash documentary. I think it was, there's a part of me that's like the industry guy that's like, well, they're not going to scrap it. They spent all this money. Like they have to release something. And I think they kind of found themselves in a tough situation because we, as the wrestling nerds, just talk about we just want to know all the allegations. Like we want to know about the insights, talk to Janelle Grant, talk to the people. I'm sure that a lot of that stuff that's ongoing, they can't explore. There's probably a lot of legal reasons why some people can't talk about certain things, which is why we got opinions from people who were like, what the fuck do we care about this person's opinion on it?
And that's why I also thought it's like, then just release it as it was meant to be.
Sure. And I think that they
waited.
They did that.
And then the anticipation got more with things that people
like the hype
get
built more.
Yeah, that people were thought like, oh, it's coming out now. Ooh, there's gonna be some shit. But overall, from again the talking about it with friends and hearing reviews on it, it's I knew the majority of the stuff already. Like it's not new information.
Sure. There was some new information for me. There was definitely some things I did not know about. Whether or not those things are true because they came from certain resources, I don't know. But it's also, again, it's like, I think this better than Tiger King in the sense that it felt less exploitative, where Tiger King, because this is the same guy that did that, right? And Alexandra was like, and I think the reason why that was so successful is because it's a really well-made documentary, and this one is like a step up. Like it's really well made. It's well presented. It's done in a dramatic, true crimey fashion without being anything, without being a true crime thing. And it feels like a very interesting human exploration, right? There's a lot of shit in there that us as wrestling nerds would go like, I didn't want to know any of this or know any of this stuff. But I think it's super well made. And so with that said, I do think that like the mission statement, the really good editing, really good timing of introducing different voices along the journey were its strengths. I think retreading the Monday Night Wars was fucking entirely unnecessary. Like some of that stuff felt to me like, this was the documentary they were making. And it even says that at times where it's like in the beginning of a specific episode, it'll say like, this was all recorded on this date, when we had access to this and this and this, and then that happened later. Mm-hmm. And so there are times where I feel like in the post-production process of the documentary, they were like, we're going to pivot because we have to pivot, but we can only pivot so much because we already have, like you said, they had their story. They already had so much of stuff made. So I do think there is a bit of what you said of like just releasing it as it was. There is quite a bit of that. And I think ironically, it's you damned if you do, damned if you don't, because that's so much of it. I'm sitting here going like, but what about the fucking lawsuits?
Had they done it when they did it and then said, well, if we can, we're going to try and make a follow-up series.
Right. Yeah.
That McMahon was a part of this one. And then whoever wants to be a part of the next one, that's what we're going to make.
Right. Mickey Bell in the chat says he's heard from work colleagues and friends who don't watch wrestling that they found the doc fascinating. I do think that's kind of that's its market. Its market
I just can't imagine there's that many people that want to watch 6 hours of this.
I think oh man, I don't think you have any idea how successful docuseries are on things that are far less interesting than the story of Vince McMahon. And
that's why I feel like once it gets into that, half of the thing becomes about, and this is what happened on the show. Like, I don't want to watch pro wrestling. I want to hear about this creepy old fuck.
Right.
And whatever else happens. And when you just ultimately see him sitting on a chair and you're like, you're either showing me sitting on a chair or you're showing him in his TV show. There is no Vince is out doing things. Vince is on his routine. Vince gets his fucking deli sandwich with mustard.
Yeah. I totally get what you're saying. Like, it's not like a day in the life. It's not like that. It's not like 30 Days by Morgan Spurlock or something like that.
Any of it. It's like
I know.
Any uncovered footage, anything that we got a hold of, it's still just all locked away.
It's all stories. It is all stories. But like, I don't know. To me, I think it's like, this is a sort of thing that Vince has only ever done in like the most protected of settings. And this was, while not entirely unprotected, a step. This, you know what I mean? Like there is more real. This is the most realistic Vince I think we've ever seen in his interview footage. And again, Triple H is still right. He's still only going to tell you what he wants you to hear. But I think his age, his constitution is a little bit different. I think there is definitely something in this that made it to me.
He doesn't even have the fun mustache. So what do I want to watch?
When they showed that, by the way, when they showed that in the footage, like the TKO merger and stuff like that, and they just show the photos of him and like footage of him, Alexandra nearly flipped her lid. She apparently had never seen it. And she was like, what the fuck? It was funny to be watching.
I would argue, again, only seen clips, but seeing the other one in full, I would argue the Stone Cold podcast in which Vince, when it was the WWE Network,
Right.
where Vince sat down with Stone Cold, I think that's the most unguarded Vince that there is.
Interesting. Sure, because he's very good at bringing him down. Stone Cold meaning.
Yeah, and just being like, hey man, we're gonna talk. And there's a little bit of showmanship, but overall he's just talking.
Yeah. Gilbert Short says, to Jake's point, Tiger King was a phenomenon. I think this is in regards to you saying, I don't know who would want to watch 6 hours of that.
Yeah.
Tiger King was a phenomenon, and it's about a bunch of random assholes no one ever heard of. Vince would at least be curiosity to the general public. I'm adding that part, general public, because he's been in pop culture for 40 years. There is a truth to that, I think. But
for those that know, there are still, I think, plenty of people that don't know who Vince McMahon is.
Unrelated.
Or that still call it WWF.
Right. True. Unrelated to Mickey Bell. It's also, it's crazy to see how different he looked throughout the ages. Right through to today, it's like he had too much work done or something. That is true. The entire time in the modern footage, we were just like, what did you do to your face, bro? I don't know. Anyways, I know that's old hat, but I found it interesting. I'm glad I watched it. Alexandra was excited to watch it, and I was like, sure, let's do it. I do think that the ads,
it feels like an introductory thing to a lot of people, so that's why.
Yeah, that's fair.
Being old hat, where I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this. 6 hours.
I don't know. There's also a curiosity though of like, you think we're ever going to see fucking Vince in an interview again after all this shit?
Yeah.
Like, really? Okay.
Raising his right hand.
Oh, good point.
Putting his left hand on a Bible.
Right.
And he says, "What's this?"
Right. I don't know. I liked it. I didn't love it. It wasn't it wasn't what I wanted, but it couldn't be. And so I'm a little bit more forgiving of it. But anyways, yeah, that happened. And then also his buddy Donald Trump sat down with The Undertaker for a podcast. This was more shocking and
why was it shocking?
Disheartening than Logan Paul. Logan Paul, I went like, yeah, fuck that guy, whatever. But I guess, do you want to know why? I guess because I'm ignorant, and I have this blissful sort of ignorance that even though his brother in Destruction Kane is this fucking piece of shit Republican lunatic who thinks kids who thinks kids getting gunned down to school is just too bad. We all need to suck it up. Even though his best mate, lifelong buddy, feels that way, I thought Taker was too respect driven to really be behind Trump. I'm not saying he's a fucking Democrat. I'm not saying he's a Kamala Harris supporter. I'm not saying he even voted for Biden, but he seems like the kind of guy to me who would be like, yeah, we need to do better than him. Like, even if he, is still registered Republican, fucking Texan, and all that stuff.
Money previously. And
see, I didn't know that. I didn't know about that. Was he one of the
we
donors?
talked about that.
I don't remember him. I remember
Jericho.
I remember
Taker,
Jericho and
Taker.
And AJ.
Taker gave way more money.
See, this is the thing.
I
have blinders on.
He's
I
worn
love him.
Trump shirts. That's in the fucking doc. And the Way Better doc, the last ride. Like, he has a shirt with Trump on it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
What? I don't think he did.
Yeah, there's a shirt that he has where you can see that Trump is on it. It's not like a Trump 20 whatever fucking year. But yeah.
I don't remember that. I'm looking it up. But anyway,
you have a shitty memory.
That's
why the Vince McMahon documentary was so awesome to you. You're like, what? He fought Stone Cold. That's his boss.
Not Tucker. Obviously, Tucker wears a Trump shirt in documentaries. I want to know if Taker.
In the last ride, there's one of the times where you can see
I remember he was wearing
like Trump. There's a Trump image on one of his shirts, and he's been a guy, like, he's been pro him anyway.
I can't find it.
You're just not.
But so anyway, so yeah, that's the point, I guess. I was like, in my hope that like one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, and this guy who I have so much respect for and who I love,
it's the same with Hogan. Outlook. Like, I love the performer.
Yeah, Hogan's easier.
I love the character, but the person I'm usually going to assume in wrestling is someone I don't like, and they probably have some disagreements or something about something that I don't care for. All depends on whether or not you can articulate it. Are they shitty about it? Is it just like, hey, this is my preference, this is who I am? Like, I have no problem with Republicans, conservatives, any of that stuff. Like, MAGA is different.
No, yes, of course. It's a big
When it's
difference.
an outright, like, now I'm in a group of, like, spouting out hate or something like that.
Right,
When it gets smaller, that's where I have an issue. But otherwise, it's like, yeah, I know that a bunch of these guys are. And also, when you are in a certain tax bracket, you're going to like the guy who's also rich and
Right.
looking out for...
Gives you a lot of tax breaks.
Yeah. So Taker is one of those guys. And also, when you're with Vince long enough and you ride on the Jets, chances are you're going to also like that guy. And when you're around during the time when Trump was around for fucking ever in WWE.
Yeah. No,
From hosting
two
WrestleManias.
Oh, I thought
From
I think it was more than that at Trump Plaza or whatever tower.
Yeah, I want to say there's 2 of them at Trump Plaza. It's
right.
4
that
and
sounds
5.
right. That sounds right.
And then he's around at other ones. He performs at 23. Like, you're gonna see the guy enough. You're gonna have a night out. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. And it's all obviously different versions of the guy. But at some point, some of these people are gonna go like, "Oh yeah, I like him. He's just a cool dude. I'll vote for him." Policies, whatever it is, but they're gonna have a relationship with him.
Well, I guess I was just hoping that wasn't the case, and this is, even though you say that it was obvious previously, I clearly missed the signs, like I was in an abusive relationship.
The donations,
yeah, I honestly don't. I legitimately just blocked that out of my mind. If we talked about that, I just nope, didn't hear it.
We for sure
not Taker. I remember all the other people. I remember AJ.
Yeah, but Mark Calloway didn't.
Yeah,
Undertaker did because he wants his body for a casket. And think of that custom casket. It's going to be so much money. It's going to be such an hourglass casket.
Does it has the hair connected to it?
It's going to have that. It's going to have the fat bottoms.
I honestly just feel like it's so disappointing because he's such all of the bullshit. Like, it's also just makes me lose literally every ounce of respect I have for Taker, because he talks all about this like very respect driven thing and your business, this, and you talk about this, and his whole fucking 2.5 hour TED Talk fucking Hall of Fame speech about like doing, all of, working hard and being this and that. And like, how does that dude look at Trump and not realize that he's the opposite of everything he's just touted? Like, how are you that fucking stupid, dude? Like, I don't get it. It's so goddamn disheartening that I'm just like
fully aware, and
or
I could come up with I could be speculating all day long on the other reasons. Or he's fully aware.
I did also have a feeling that, like, watching some of those clips, it looks like he's aware and it looks like he's irritated by him. But a part of me is just like, is this a favor? Did he do it as a favor? And again, I'm grasping at straws. Is it a favor to Kane, or how much money did he get fucking paid? Did the Trump campaign? The Trump campaign has more money than any other presidential fucking campaign in American history. Like,
Taker also probably has more money than any wrestler.
He's got a lot more money than Harrison Walsey right now. Yeah.
So
but I don't know.
Like, does that guy need another payday? Does he need a bump in his podcast so 1-800-Flowers can, sit back for a week? And
yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff to it, but ultimately, I mean, even this show at times previously, I've been very uncomfortable talking about political stuff on the show. And I didn't want to have that.
Sorry, I forced it on you.
Divide. But I mean, I'm more savvy to that stuff now. I'm always going to be fucking dumb to it. There's a ton of shit I don't know about, and I own up to it. But that's, I don't know, this platform. People on whatever side they're on. And fortunately, that is the thing. There's only 2. We got a lot of ice creams. We got a lot of fucking Dorito flavors, but we got 2 political candidates. It's very strange that people want to throw their hat in the ring. Like, but I'm sure there's plenty of fans, or there's other podcasters out there that go, can you believe what fucking Mick Foley said about Trump and saying this?
Sure.
And that they feel that strongly about him and go like, didn't you see the fucking signs about Mick? Like, no, I didn't fucking see. I thought Mick was so fucking cool. I thought Mick was one of us. I thought he was a donkey or an elephant, whichever one.
The difference is that we're right. But no, I understand your point. In any case, I feel like those are maybe the biggest things that have occurred since we've been gone. We are kind of getting to that point where
we're talking about we had a fucking Hell in a Cell.
Wait, did we?
You don't remember Hell in a Cell, the return of Bad Blood?
Who fought in it?
Jesus Christ!
God, I know I watched some of it.
This is all the more reason I don't want to watch that Vince McMahon documentary.
Gilbert
for
Short,
less than a month
Gilbert
ago.
Short in the chat. Wait. Taker's the richest mortuary employee of all time.
Yeah.
Um,
Less than a month ago, we had Bad Blood, the return of that show.
right. Bad Blood was
in Atlanta.
Oh wait, of course I fucking watched it. It was fucking fantastic. It was Punk and Drew. God, that was a good.
We
match.
edited. I don't know if you're.
That was a good match.
You,
That was
if
12
you're watching
out,
this live.
That was 12 minutes of me just blankly staring.
Yeah,
at the
just
wall.
like,
Couple things we got to do really quickly before we get out of here, because we still need to. We're gonna go take a hotline call. We've got to pick a champ, but in front of you, I'm not sure if you saw gifts from New York.
I do. I also want to update people on.
Oh, that's right. We should talk about all that
our
stuff too.
situations.
Well, let's do this first really quickly. This is all that stuff that Paul, my cousin Paul, had that you said you wanted. So you got a little.
Look at this. This is
No,
crazy.
don't pick that up. No, it's wired. Please don't pull the wire.
Speaker?
Please don't pull the wire.
Look at that.
Please don't pull the wire.
It's hardwired, a speaker.
Right.
That must have been really
It's my
old.
surround sound.
How did he keep
speaker
that around?
until we figure out a better spot for it?
I don't know. Seems like a good one.
I don't remember that we talked about any of this stuff.
We did.
There you go. I kept this guy. I don't know that we showed it. Rather, this is the only guy I kept. I kept a little Jake the Snake Roberts.
I don't know why there's not quote unquote snow in that globe there. Because that one should be able to fucking shake up, and then
that's a good one.
He smiles as you shake it. I have a super ripped Andre the Giant.
Yeah, he's yoked.
I don't know what that's about.
That's Andre the Giant from WWE All Stars, that video game.
I'm sure you're gonna want to keep this now.
No, that's your guy.
What? No, I thought actually this is your guy.
He's dead to me. He's dead man to me. Donatello dressed like the Undertaker.
Maga Taker.
Mugga Taker. Now that's a fucking t-shirt.
I'm bummed that all the times that Trump said like, "Hey, is wrestling real? Does it hurt?" That one of those should have just been, "Hey, who's Sarah?" I was watching some clips. Who's Sarah?
Right.
And then I have, I'm really frightened for this one because it is not a Tiger handheld video game.
Oh, is that what you thought it was?
Well, yeah, because I thought that Tiger made them all.
Right.
I didn't realize there were other companies that probably made them shittier.
Which one is that one?
So this is MGA Entertainment, MAGA Entertainment,
No.
WWF's The Rock LCD handheld game. I can't tell if on the back it's saying that there are more, or if those are just other characters that are shittily pixelated in the game. Ages 6+, uses 2 AA batteries. Oh boy, if those are in here, those have
exploded a long time ago.
Yeah, so this is gonna be fucking wretched, but I'm excited. So it's what? No. So there's a D-pad, and then a start attack button, all the same button.
It's a multi-use button.
That'll be good.
It's a multi-purpose room.
Oh, and it's like a TNA event. There's 2 rings stacked on top of each other. It's outstanding. It's gonna be good. Thank you, cousin Paul. Guess that makes up for not being invited to his wedding.
All right. So do you want to do a new champion, or do you want to catch people up?
I think we should catch people up.
All right. Make them wait.
We've lost so many of them by this point.
That's a good point.
So you're back.
I'm back. I'm here
in Los Angeles.
I'm here.
Cool digs. We talked about that on the pre-show.
Yes. Thank you very much. Very excited.
Seems like things are pretty well. You're here 2-ish months now.
October. About a month and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all is well.
Coming up. So far, so good. Yeah. Very busy, hemorrhaging money, because that's what happens when you move into an apartment. You don't have any furniture. But outside of that, I can't complain. Fucking thrilled to be back.
Find any grasshoppers and any luggage.
Yes, there were grasshoppers in boxes from storage.
Really?
Yes, there were 2 dead grasshoppers.
Not from Texas?
No. Yeah. Meaning, so when we got to Texas,
okay,
we still had quite a bit of our stuff that was out and about in New York that went into storage in Texas, into a little, like, what do you call them? Like a storage container, like the kinds that you put on the back of a truck, right? Yeah. That he had. So we had stuff in there. There was a couple grasshoppers that were just like dead. There was, when we got here and I opened the U-Haul, there were like a bunch of them. They must have just died in the heat. Just dried up grasshoppers that were just, when we were loading the U-Haul up, probably just jumping into the U-Haul. And there were 2 in the Jeep.
Wow.
Yeah.
None in the pockets.
No pockets. No pocket hoppers.
Not a jacket that you took off and went like, yeah.
Not
oh my God. A handful of them.
No pocket hoppers to be found.
Okay. All right. Well, you're back. The reason that we've taken a hiatus, because you know that I hate taking breaks of any kind.
Yes.
For the show. I think we've done it officially now where we've had some weeks off, but there's a long period of time where I'm like, no,
No.
you
Yeah.
have to fill it with fucking something.
Do a thing.
I starting September 1st, I was having issues. I was having eye strain issues and headaches that were getting real bad real fast. And as I had called in on the show and left a message on the PWP hotline, 747-666-5606.
Sounds right to me. God damn, it's been so long. I forgot the number.
Call with your questions, comments, thoughts, or medical issues. At that point, I was undiagnosed and was I losing my vision? Had I lost my vision?
You told me that you, at that point, could barely see anything. That's why you literally could not get text messages anymore. You couldn't read my text messages.
Yeah.
You were like, gotta call you because I can't do anything other than call.
Yeah. So at one point, I lost vision in both eyes. And the right eye basically had a dark filter over it. So when only looking through that eye, any projected light source could not see.
Right.
So an eye exam, a light that was the crosswalk or street light didn't register at all. And then everything was for glasses wearers. It's the baseline of when you're not wearing glasses and your vision is shitty,
Everything's out of focus.
like a notch down below that.
Right.
So both eyes were of that. So then it was just everything was hazy and fuzzy and looking at my phone. If that was about the only thing that I could kind of do when it was a little bit better than that, but I'd had to have it up to my face. I blew up all the lettering to old man size.
Yeah, the giant stuff.
And it's at like smallish to mediumish right now. That was the worst, along with the headaches and all that stuff. I've gone to see ophthalmologist, neuro-ophthalmologist, neurologist. I've had MRIs, MRA, and spinal tap.
Oh, God.
And
that's brutal.
A lot of blood work done. And currently in a state of my eyes are better. My left eye is about back to normal.
Okay.
I think there's still a little bit of issue with some close-up stuff. And then my right eye is, I don't know, 80, 85%.
Okay.
Back to where it was. Headaches come and go. If they're there for the entire day. Today is one of those days. They're not as bad as they were. They were about like a 7 out of 10 on the pain scale.
Oof,
at their peaks.
So it's like just having a constant migraine.
I guess so. I've never had a migraine.
Right.
So I don't know, but mine are focused right here.
Right.
I have been diagnosed.
Oh, so we know now. Because last time you spoke to me, it was all mysteries.
Yeah. So the neuro-ophthalmologist, when she had me going for blood work, it was, and all the tests previous that I mentioned was all trying to eliminate all the big things.
Right.
MS, brain tumors,
yeah,
all that kind of shit. So it came back and I have MOG, otherwise known as Mogad, which isn't that a Marvel character with short arms and short legs? Just beating you to the punch because it's happened many a time.
Mogad.
It's an autoimmune disease. That's what the AD is for in Mogad.
Yes,
like some people call it MOG or Mogad. I cannot pronounce the entire condition, so if you want to give it a crack, you go ahead. But that O is a motherfucker.
Oh my gosh, you're not wrong. Oligodendrocyte? Nope, something like that.
Yeah. So it's an autoimmune disease that at this point has no origin other than your own body does it to you.
Right.
There's no like, oh, did you eat fucking cheeseburger Doritos? That gets you Mogad.
Right. It was just it's a biological disposition of some sort.
Your body just at one point says, oh, something's wrong. We need to do this instead.
Right.
And it's misreading something, the proteins, and does something different. So it has 3 attack points of which it will choose. This is also most relevant in children, apparently. So I'm unique.
Wow.
And
you've always been immature for your age.
Yeah. So the attack points are the spine, the brain, and the neuro-optics. And
neural optics is what's affecting you.
Yes. So I suppose overall I'm fortunate.
That's probably the best of the 3.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not great, but I know I'm glad it's not the spine. So all the things that I mentioned that can happen, it's what I got all of them, and I got them right away.
All pretty abruptly.
The doctor, the neuro-ophthalmologist had said like, yeah, it started for you on September 1st and it just hit you like a freight train, and it just, you went down real fast.
Right.
So I had steroid injections and steroid treatment in which it was to reduce the inflammation in my eyes to restore sight.
Got it.
So it took a while, but got it back. And that's where we are currently. But I'm currently on no other treatment. That's the only treatment I've taken because
just the steroids.
The neurologist has said the rating of this that you got is low. I believe it's tithers is the scale in which it's measured on.
Sure. Okay. Like the severity.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it's like, it can score up to 100, and our scale, you got in like the low 10s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we want to see what it measures as. Again, you were taking no medications at the time, so that's a good sign, but we want to just do it again and run it and see. And I'm taking another MRI in the future here to be determined. I have to do spinal taps or anything like that again.
Oh, fuck.
And this is before any treatment will happen, because he's like, he wants to determine like, do we need to do something long-term?
Right.
This is something that MOGAD can just go away, and it can be gone for the rest of your life. It never pops up again, or it can pop up again.
Oh, so it's
more severe.
So it is something that can go. I assumed it was something like a lot of autoimmune diseases that that are just kind of dormant, regardless of whether or not they're affecting you.
It's all kind of unknown
Shit.
with this, as the neurologist put it. I didn't get clarification on this. I just made an assumption, as you know, you get a doctor in an office,
right.
And you're like, I know I got like 4 questions.
Yes. Yeah.
He said it. I said, is this a newer known thing? And he says, yeah, basically we've known about MOGAD for a long time, but it became more commercial in 2017.
More commercial? It's sold out?
I'm assuming like more was known about it, and there was more medications to be given to it. That's why it could be sellable to the fucking medical community. I don't know. But he says, yeah, it mostly affects children, but it could just go away. You don't deal with it again. Or we find out that it happens later and it could be more severe.
Right. And the number can go up. Right.
So
what do they test besides an MRI? Like, is it just like MRI and blood work? Like, what are they looking at to determine
what is happening?
Yeah.
I think it's basically between the spine, the brain, and the neuro-optics was you're kind of running the same test, like I said, for MS and all those things to see, like, is there pressure? Is the fluid in your brain pressurized causing any
like stress or
any pressure? Yeah, stress.
And is that all stuff they can tell through an MRI? Is I guess what I'm asking.
The MRI, I don't know.
Yeah, sure, gotcha.
That it's testing more about, like, I guess what's just going on in there, and then they're going to potentially do the what do they call it? Not a coagulation, but something to basically fuck with the measurements more.
Got it.
Where I think they inject you with something to register more.
So that way there's like a control, and then they can see what happens when it's affected by something.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm still seeing doctors, and as you're hemorrhaging money for,
I can only imagine,
for a new place to live.
Yeah.
The medical bill started rolling in.
Oh boy.
And I do have insurance.
But you live in America, so
when I read it, it's like, it's as though I almost don't. I see that I do. Thanks for the breakdown, but
right.
Yeah, I feel like Christian Rosenberg. I used to wonder why on AfterBuzz TV he'd go like, I got all these damn insurance bills, so buy a shirt. And I'm like, all right, geez, what's the big deal? Oh God, I should have bought some shirts from Christian Rosenberg. I feel like a shithead. So your Patreon memberships are very much is appreciated at this point. I shit you very little. And yeah, so I'm in a state of hurry up and wait.
Right.
My new normal is different. I'm functional.
Right.
Certain stuff is limited, but clearly diet is not. But yeah, it's all just kind of strange. Right. This could all just be fine. And it's nothing. Overall, it doesn't affect life expectancy.
Right. Yeah. It's not like it's not something that could ever be fatal in the sense. Yeah. It'll be painful and miserable.
Yeah.
But it's not going to kill you.
I could be blind and
it's make
my
you
head could
kill
hurt
yourself
for all of time.
Right. Yes, exactly.
That's at its worst for me, apparently.
Right.
So we'll see. So that is why I've been off, partially just because of pain or couldn't see or couldn't fucking talk about this.
Right.
Because it's weird.
Tough.
And
Yeah, it's tough. Well, we're honestly, as sad and horrible as it sounds, based on a lot of the other stuff that you were telling me when we spoke a month ago or however long ago that was, sounds like best case scenario for the issues.
Pretty much.
Because a lot of the other things that you were mentioning were pretty terrifying. A lot of the other tests they were doing were for things that are pretty terrifying. And, hopefully
an MRI is kind of fun.
I've only had one, but I had to have it on my leggies.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's no fun.
I hope that it just goes away and this is all just a thing that occurred once. But of course, if it doesn't, or if it gets worse, or if however this waiting happens, I think I speak on behalf of all the Palskis that,
I read go fuck yourself.
Where
get fucked.
We are. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Yeah. We're all here. We love you. And we're, anytime that you feel like taking off, I'll find a way.
Well, I won't be able to drive here anymore.
I think that was the other part of it too. At least maybe I'm projecting or I'm speaking on your behalf, which I know you love when I do. But I do think that since I came out here, you were like, well, now that you're here, like, I don't want to just do another Zoom thing. Like, I want to have our first show back in person. Yeah. So I think that was part of it too, of like, well, maybe my eyesight's getting a little bit better and maybe we could just do like a Zoom recording, but it feels not special, or it feels like, or
the amount of time that I was going to be like, I can't see anything on a screen. Jake, you need to do this too. Jake, you need to do that too. I can't read this. Or
yeah, I'm like, hey, can you research the news? And you're like, nope.
I'm like, hold on, let me see. What are you looking at? I'm seeing if I hit record or not.
Right.
I think I did.
Right.
I think the files are good. And then being able to send you, there were so many little things like that where I go,
right,
this is going to take minimum 45 minutes for me to do.
Right. Well,
like trying to do shit where I was printing a label for packaging, printing a label to sell something off of eBay took a long time.
Right.
Where my cat's looking at me going like, what is wrong with you?
I mean, it's, it kind of makes you realize how much of our existence we take for granted. Like there's certain things where like, the fear of losing your eyesight, and not to sound ableist, or I don't mean to be offensive to anybody listening who might have,
I'm about to be offended,
visual issues, but just like, it's terrifying to imagine, like, and you immediately go like, oh, what I would not give to just be able to see normally right now.
I would think, and this is from my perspective, the initial, I would call it crumbling of something,
right?
No matter what, is terrifying.
Exactly.
If you're born with whatever, when your normal changes, it's terrifying. And then you start to extrapolate and go, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? Right. What if this stays this way? What if it gets worse? Yeah, it's not great. I'll give you a piece of advice. You haven't done this. Thank you, by the way. Other friends have. What isn't great to do is when something like this is shared or you say something like this, and I know there's not a lot of great responses anyway. You're kind of going like,
right,
man, that sucks. Like that.
Right. That sucks. Is all sucks. Most people. Yeah.
That sucks. I love you. That'd be great. But to go like, yeah, we're all getting older,
Oh, fuck me.
don't, I'm looking at the camera. Don't say that.
I would. Yeah. That sounds awful.
Don't say it. The only way that it kind of works all right is if, as the person saying it, something happened to you that your friend is also aware of and goes like, oh yeah. Or even still rephrasing it a little bit and going like, God, life can be fucking tricky, or it's crazy how these things can happen to us. But just to go like, yeah, we're all getting older. Like, are you talking about gray hairs on you? Or some lower back pain?
No, Scott, I know exactly what you mean, because I woke up this morning and my knee had like a little click in it when I was moving it. It's fine now, but for a while there, it was touch and go.
Oh my God, fuck off. And
well, again, we love you. And all I want to know is what you said. You said it was like brain, spine, and then neuro-optical.
Yes,
neuro-optical. I know that with other things that affect the musculature in your eyes. And like my mother has big issues with retinas, like detached retinas is genetic. Like I have to get that. I have to pay the extra money at all of my regular eye exams to test for all the other stuff, because our family is just genetically disposed to bad eyesight and being blind prematurely and detached retinas and all sorts of horrible eye problems.
Actual blindness prematurely.
Yes. And that's why it's a huge fear.
That
I told you that.
Shouldn't feel like
when you told me
that it's like, well, yeah, we all go blind.
Well,
but it just happened prematurely to you. Like, no.
Well, I meant prematurely, like early cataracts before like the age that it tends to happen and that kind of stuff. Which is it's one of my biggest fears. And it's when you first called me and told me it was happening, I was just immediately like sweating because I was like, this is like a nightmare. It sounds like a nightmare.
Right.
But in any case, I know a lot of that stuff can affect the strain that you put on your eyes. And what will happen is eventually you might get a little Shawn Michaels action going. So I want to know,
I was very aware that
at any given point, are you going to look like a Shawn Michaels action figure?
I mean, I've talked enough shit about him and made fun of him enough. But,
it would be karma.
But I'm not as terrible a person as Shawn Michaels ever was.
All right, that's fair. Hard agree on that one. Well, that's bookstore at the door. He wants to come in. Too bad.
What are people saying, by the way?
People are saying
it's weird to know that stuff is being said, and
people are saying. Gilbert Short says, "Yeah, I guess we all get old sometime."
Fuck you, Gilbert.
I'm kidding. Actually, what's happening is Andrea Beeler, one of our record-setting champs, just popped in and is like, "Oh, I'm here. Hi, everybody. What's going on?" And everybody's like, "Well, you just." Scott is telling everybody. There hasn't been much talk back other than people clearly love you.
Not the lady I was dating during all this. I'll tell you that.
Oh boy,
it's funny now. It's kind of funny then.
Yeah, a little bit.
She didn't believe me.
Gilbert says the glasses look good though, Scott. I don't think he had glasses before this. I just want to.
I think I rarely ever wore them. Right now, I have a bit of a phobia of wearing contacts because I've never talked to anybody about it specifically. I don't think it's a problem because no one's ever said like, whatever you do, don't wear contacts in your eyes. Because I wore them. I know I wore them on September 2nd, the last time I went on a date with that lady that things were going pretty good. And then sometime later, like, I don't believe you. And I'm like, I should just tell her right now, go fuck yourself. I'm not that kind of guy. If I'd watched The Righteous Gemstones then.
I don't believe you is the response.
I don't believe you.
Oh my gosh.
And then it got worse. It got a little bit better. And then it got a lot bit worse. And I was like, all right. I still should have just stuck by the instinct of like, I should really tell this person to go fuck themselves. Because this is not something you'd say at all. When I'm like, do I try and prove it? Do I try to do this? And I go, no, it's not stress that you need for something like this. Like, she showed the colors.
Yep. Yeah. Just listen to people tell you who they are. You listen to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's good that happened when it did, because those moments I appreciate and going like, yep, got it.
Andrea Beeler says to tell you that she loves you. Happy to see you again. You've been very missed. Also, Andrea, shout out to Andrea. We know she has some family stuff going on too, so we want to just throw some love out to Andrea.
Yes, much love back.
But speaking of champs and record-setting champs, I think with all that, it is better late than never.
I think this will be a record-setting champ of
the
old Kane reign of world champion.
Better late than never. It's time to pick our October. In the last minute, we got in right into the wire. Mm-hmm. October. Technically, we didn't miss a month.
This is like a Money in the Bank cash in, really.
We didn't miss a month.
We missed a month of other stuff. And while Jake is doing this, I do very much apologize for not being able to do watch-alongs or figuring out that, because it was also your month.
You know what? I actually want to thank, though, with all that, the people who stuck with us and who didn't drop your memberships because we weren't around. We really appreciate it. Again, that any dollar, we don't have a huge Patreon. Our Patreon's tiny. We don't make much money for this. It's just a little way to help us pay some of the bills that come with podcasting and maybe pay for Scott's gas. He's a huge gas guzzler now. To get up here. And so we really do want to thank everybody who stuck with us during the dark days here. And God,
is that how you shake that
you're
thing?
gonna get rewarded. Yeah, that's not how you do it.
Jesus.
Without further ado, it's time to pick our October PWP champ. If you don't know what this is, well, you got to become a championship level Palski over at patreon.com/PW Palskis. Current champ Mike Lucas, aka Hackensack, the defending champion. Let's see how it goes. And I believe new sole record-setting champion, Gilbert Short.
We're all getting older, Gil.
Gilbert Short.
Wow.
PWP
Last name
champ,
apropos.
PWP champ.
Or it's just on the line again. It doesn't
For
necessarily mean
October.
that it's short, right?
What do you mean? It's on. Wait, what?
He just has to defend immediately.
Right. Sure. Of course. Yeah. Defending probably the next episode. Yes.
Yeah. So who knows? It could go on. We
will.
keep making assumptions that it could end immediately.
I did not realize that we will be recording the next episode today. So it literally will be.
So if you're watching right now, you could sign up. You can get
Gil.
other people to sign up, and it could stack the odds against Gilbert Short right now.
I forgot that the next episode is a November episode. Do we want to put it off a week? It's up to you, Scott.
Ask Gilbert.
Gilbert, you let us know if you want to defend your title today or if you'd like us to put it off and record, and we'll, that way you have a little bit of a run. You let us know. Whatever you say goes. Champs pick, baby.
If you listen to the pre-show, you get a little bit of the runs too.
With that said, I guess we should throw the hotline. We still got some time. Let's go to the hotline. I think we have a hotline call from current new PWP champion Gilbert Short. So we're gonna go do that.
Okay.
Thanks again to everybody who joined us here in the live stream. Scott Narver, say goodbye to the live stream.
Goodbye. We'll see you soon with this.
747-666-5606. That's the number to the Pro Wrestling Palskis hotline, or you can send a voice memo to hotline@pwpalskis.com. That's hotline@pwpalskis.com, and we'll play it right here on the show, just like this.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Jake. This is Gilbert up in the Bay Area, a.k.a. Goliathon. And first of all, I just want to say welcome back, Scott. I'm glad you're feeling better. Sounds like you had a bit of a rough time. So, yeah, just glad you're back. But I just wanted to respond to something you said about the Young Bucks in an episode a while ago from before the break.
Now you did it.
Yeah, he's been holding on to it.
Where you said you don't like Matt, but you think Nick is better because of reasons. I don't exactly remember the exact ones, but you also said that you think that Nick is more believable on promo or what have you. And I have to say I disagree with that, because while I'm not exactly a fan of the Bucks, I find them to be the least interesting team in AEW, which is interesting considering they started the company. That I always thought Matt was more believable. He seems to put more emotion into his promos, whereas Nick always seemed like he kind of talked down into his chest and never really had any emotional connection to anything at all, and always seemed like he was just kind of stage fright, and I don't know, I just always found it kind of weird. But other than that, I guess I just again wanted to say welcome back, Scott, and I'm glad to see the boys back together. And you guys have a great week. Bye.
There you go. Gilbert, the current PWP champ, disagrees with you. Bookstore has a lot to say about that.
Yeah, I know what Buck I think is the best. I mean, that's fair. When I say one's better, when I say Nick is better than Matt, it's not by a lot. And when
right.
And I'm taking, I'm extrapolating off what you're saying, Gil, and please by all means correct me. It sounds like you're also saying, yeah, I found Matt to be a little bit more believable than Nick, but it's a very close race of like,
right.
Neither one's great.
Yeah. It's the Olympic, whatever it is, 90-yard dash or whatever, where it's like first place, dead last. The old
binos.
The old is it an old Seinfeld joke? Yeah. First place, second place, dead last.
Where it's just lengths of noses, and the distinction of like who's better and who's not. And I think my distinction between the Young Bucks of when it comes to promos especially is Nick seems more genuine, where if he is a little bit sheepish or at times he can be a little bit more cocky, it still just reeks as a little bit more genuine.
Right.
Like
more who he is, you think.
Yeah. Or just believable. It doesn't seem like an act. When Matt puts it on, Matt to me is always overacting. While he may be braggadocious, while he may have more personality, every time I see it and I hear it, I go, yeah, I don't buy it. I don't.
Interesting. I understand your point. I don't
it's
know
not
that
believable.
I agree, but I get it though.
And if it was, and I'm not equating him to it in this way, but if you took a page out of Bobby Heenan's playbook where Heenan talked big, Heenan said everything, Heenan managed like a wrestler and wrestled like a manager.
Right.
So if he's talking big and then he gets in the ring, and we all know he's fucking small and tiny, right. And if he's talking shit on anybody else bigger, and then he got sheepish and cowardly and ran away, then those promos would register as more believable, because he would be just a little guy barking, talking shit, and then, oh, here comes Brian Cage or somebody. He's like, all right, I'm going to tag in Nick. Nick's like, whoa, you're the one talking shit. Like, yeah, you got him. You go in there. It doesn't connect for me. And that's my, one of the many issues, but hey, if you like one buck more than the other, more power to you. And the fact that right now, 5-6 years into the company, that they're the least interesting tag team for, a guy who keeps up on wrestling, like, and I've dropped out because there's just so much egregious stuff in the show.
Yeah.
That's certainly disappointing to hear that the Bucks are that uninteresting overall, when if you're the guy, if you have as much creative say as you could,
right?
Like you can't get much more than that than being on the fucking board of directors and being a VP or whatever else they are. I get it. They try and reinvent themselves or be different every so often. It's not changing it all that much.
It's also they're reinventing themselves into characters that other people have done first. It's not a fresh reinvention.
Yeah.
It's like, we used to be this team, but now we're this other team.
Yes. It's
yeah, I get it.
Great. All the power to the other teams too. If you can be more interesting than the Bucks, if you can be more interesting than the guys who are running the company, fucking go with it.
Yeah.
Make them struggle. Make them have to get better. Everybody should be outshining the Bucks at this time, whatever company you're working for.
Yeah.
Show their shortcomings.
Well, there you have it. Thanks again for the call, champ. 747-666-5606 or hotline at pwpalskis.com, and we'll play your messages right here on the show. Or, of course, if you want to just chat with us, then become a patron and join us live for the live streams. You saw we were taking comments from the YouTube the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
It's interactive. You're all part of it. That's what we're going for here. That's the aim. That's our mission statement.
Bubba Ray Dudley ain't gonna do that shit.
God, how do we end these things? I forget. We usually say thanks to all the patrons, right?
Yeah, we thank all the people who support our Patreon, and on this show we give out Retribution names as well as Maximum Male Model names. But
yeah, there's a big but.
Yeah, we're gonna change this up in the new year
because Maximum Male Model, they're back.
They're ongoing.
So it's not really a bit anymore.
Yeah, it's
they ruined the bit.
They ruined the bit by making it sad and ongoing. Like that's what we were doing.
No, wait, I'm sorry. Are you workshopping memoir titles?
Yeah.
Ruining the bit by making it sad and ongoing.
Yeah.
A memoir by Scott Narver. By Scott Bartholomew Narver.
Oh, easy for you to say.
What's your middle name again, Tamina?
Yeah, it's that. It's Tamina. Because I want middle name Mina.
Alexandra asked me, and I went, I don't think he has one.
And then she said, "You guys are friends, right?"
And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't listen."
Yeah, I don't care. So yeah, we're gonna change up the names. We're gonna change up what we do with here. Maybe they'll just be acknowledgments, but for sure, we can't say the new year Maximum Male Model names are gonna go away. But we will make sure that we give everyone one. That if you sign up or you hadn't signed up, like we'll give them out to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Retribution names, don't know. Maybe we'll change this all up. Maybe it's old and played out. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
We'll see.
That's harder. That's a harder call for me to make personally.
Well, yeah, because you don't say any of the shit. So
do you want me to read them off? You have a hard time reading that? You want me to?
No, I can read this.
Okay. How big is the font on that thing?
Big enough. That's the name of my memoir.
There we go.
Thank you to AJ0314, aka Binary, aka Matrice69, Alex Pierce, aka Figs, aka Zatoys, Andrea Beeler, aka Pollen Hate, aka Achewed to Test, Curtis Mason, aka Hurtis, aka Auche, Gilbert Short, aka Goliathon, aka Batal Under Ruse, aka the current PWP champ, Matt Slama, a.k.a. Spitz, a.k.a. Jakara Lover. Michael Beltran, a.k.a. Limestone, a.k.a. La Naturelle. Mike Lucas, a.k.a. Hackensack, a.k.a. Luger Testicle. Suicide, a.k.a. a.k.a. Je ne sais who.
I liked watching you figure that one out.
That wasn't in my...
Been a while.
Yeah, but I read it out like, what the fuck does that say? Tim Redbeard, a.k.a. Blood Fuzz, a.k.a. Blue de Fuse. Tom Hader, a.k.a. Cupid, a.k.a. Cherub. And Tony Griggs, a.k.a. Big Griggs, a.k.a. Grand Grisois.
Thanks to each and every one of you for your continued support of the program. We could not, would not, should not do this show without you. And once again, your Patreon dollars, they mean a lot to us. We know money's tight all over, and there's a lot of things you can spend your money on. And, throwing a few bucks to a couple schmucks talking about a bunch of dudes in their underwear seems like an odd way to spend your dollars. But we mean it. And if you're a longtime listener and you haven't checked out the Patreon, there's so much stuff there. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes, all different sorts of conversations and pre-shows where Scott and I just shoot the shit about whatever. We have all sorts of great wrestling conversations. We have all sorts of great ongoing series. We have old series. We've got watch-alongs, both video and audio. There is just so much stuff there. It is arguably the best deal in entertainment there is right now.
Yeah, we're back together live, so that means we might have more stuff in which we could do, like create more content for that. So we're gonna come up with different things.
I mean, the Peep promo challenge definitely deserves a round 2 at some point,
right?
So thanks to everybody who joins us. Thanks to everybody who supports us. And we will see you in the Discord. We will see you next week.
I just hope to see you.
Scott just hopes to see you. Thanks for joining us. It's always a blast hanging out with you, the Pro Wrestling Palskis.
If you're enjoying this podcast or any podcasts on the Dragon Wagon Radio Network, be sure to check out the Dragon Wagon shop. You can tout your podcast pride while supporting your favorite indie podcast network. Make sure to check it often for new items and limited time designs. So shop now at dragonwagonshop.com. Get your dragon swag on.
It's Dragon Wagon.